Okay, so welcome to the fourth session on SPSS. As we did in the previous sessions, we have a PowerPoint that outlines the major points we covered in this session, and I'm going to navigate from PowerPoint to SPSS to make sure that I'm covering all the points. So the first point is about creating descriptive statistics. What we did was we opened the data that we were using in the previous session, and we ran descriptive statistics on frequency data. So we start by going to analyze, then we go to descriptive statistics, then frequencies, and then in this dialog box we picked variables such as gender, degree, graduated from, and let's say married. Okay, and the next thing we did is we clicked on charts and we requested bar charts. You can request pie charts if you feel, bar charts then, and I told you to use the percentage rather than the frequencies. Click continue and then click on OK. Every time you request something from SPSS, it will go directly to the output window, as I mentioned previously. All right, so let's look at what are we getting when we are running what we just did. The first table, the statistic table, is just a summary of what variables you requested and if there were any missing. And as you can see, there's no missing in any of these variables. Then you start looking at the variables. Gender, for example, we have females and males appearing in the table. And if you remember, we did not enter the data as female, male, rather we entered the data as 1 and 2, and we coded them. We told the SPSS under the codes that 1 is for females and 2 is for males. The next is the frequency, which is the count. So I have 35 females, 35 males. Then I have a valid percent, and a percent, and then a valid percent, and they add up to 100%. The difference between the percent and the valid percent, as we have mentioned previously, is whether or not you have a missing value. In the percent, the missing will be counted part of the missing value, whereas in the valid percent, they will not be counted. A common practice is to use the valid percent. All right, so these are the four descriptive on the four variables: gender, degree, graduated from, and whether married or not. And then you have the bar charts that just replicates the results, but in the form of bar charts. Okay. So having done that, let's go back a little bit back to graduated from. If I want to go back to the table directly on this side of the viewer, of the output, you have some sort of an outline of your outputs. And you can directly click on the graduated from, and it will take you directly to this table. So here we're looking at where did these pharmacists graduated from, and we have the five known universities in Beirut, and then we have the others. And the others are people that graduated from outside Lebanon, I'm sorry. So if we wanted to look at this variable again, but taking out those that not graduated from Lebanon, so only focusing on those that graduated in Lebanon, I need to tell SPSS to not account for the others, to filter out the others. So if you remember, filtering out is the following way. You go back to your data. Okay, this is our data view. Click on data, go down to select cases, and then you're going to specify if condition is satisfied. You click if, and then the variable we want to work with is graduated from. Okay, and you're going to put it in this table. Now you want to say not equal to, but if you don't remember what was the code for the others, then you can go back to it and right click, go down to variable information, and now you can see that the others received a code of 6. All right, so go back and put 6 right there, put a 6, and then click continue and click OK. Alright, to make sure that it actually worked, you can go back to your data view and you can see some of the records have been scratched out. They still are part of your data, but if you run some analysis, it will not take them um, inside the analysis. Alright, so let's repeat the analysis. Analyze descriptive frequencies. I don't want to repeat on everything, so I'm going to do a reset, and I'm going to go back and take graduated from, put it here. This time in the charts, I'm going to ask for a pie chart, again for percentage, continue, click OK. And as you can see now, I have the table that had the graduated from without the others. And I have a pie chart. All right? So far, what have we done? We did summary statistics with the graphs for categorical variable, and we did the analysis for a selected group. All right, let's now do for numerical variable. So we're going to go back to our SPSS. I want to take everybody back into the analysis. So go back to data, select cases, and click on all cases. Click OK. Now, if you look at your data, there's no scratched out anymore. We're back to taking everybody. Analyze. So now I want to run this descriptive statistics on numerical variable. So descriptive statistics, and go to frequency again, the same place. Let's do reset, and let's say I want to run a descriptive on variable age, which is numeric, and also on %ns, which is also numeric. Go under statistics and request the mean, the median. You can request the mode as well. Request the minimum, the maximum, the standard deviation, and the quartiles. Click continue. Now before you click on OK, we're going to do a few things. First, on the charts, we're going to request a histogram with a normal curve fit to it. Click continue. And then we're going to unselect the frequency tables. Okay, and then we're going to click on the OK. So in this table right there, we have the two variables we requested, the age and the %ns, and ns is no substitution. Okay, so what percentage of the prescription the physician is checking no substitution. You can see that for both variables we have one missing, so instead of having 70 we have 69. The mean for age is 41, the median is 39, which is pretty close to the mean, which means that this looks like symmetrical distribution. The standard deviation is 10, the minimum is 25, the maximum is 71. In contrast, if we looked at the percent non-substitution, you can see that the mean is 60 and the median is 70. There's quite a difference between these two, indicating that there could be some extreme values on the positive side. We can scroll down and look at the distribution, the histogram for age, and as expected, it's not a huge departure from normality. Whereas if we look at the NS, well, it seems less fitting the normal distribution than age. Okay? So having said that, let's go back to our PowerPoint. We have covered running summary statistics for numerical data. Next, we're going to split the analysis into different files. So let's go back to our data. And now let's suppose that I want to look at the same things I did, but I want to look at it for every gender alone. So I click on data, I go to select split file, and then you have compare groups. You pick gender and you put it in the compare groups. You click continue. Now by doing so, the SPSS hasn't done anything yet. It's waiting for you to request a command, and it will run whatever you request based on that. So now do analysis. Let's do what we did a moment ago, frequencies. So I'm still looking at age and percent non-subscription, and I click OK, and what's going to happen now, as you notice, I have the same analysis I had a moment ago, but this time female alone and male alone. So what SPSS did, it split the analysis female. So we have now the analysis for female and for male, and you can tell that by looking at the numbers are much smaller. Actually, you can tell because it tells you that it's saying to you that these are the females and these are the males. And if you look at the histograms, you have the histograms of age for female, then percent non-substitution for female, and then age for male, and for male again. Now let's do another run. This time we're going to go to again frequency and reset everything back to what it was. And let's request, for example, degrees. Put degree here and run it. And you can see that now I'm seeing the distribution of the degree, whether it's a BS or PharmD, for female alone and for male alone. Okay? All right, so let's go back to our PowerPoint. We did the splitting file and running analysis. So what it does, it runs the analysis, but split it according to what you request the split be. Now we're going to do something else, but before we do that, make sure we go back to your data and split file and click Analyze All Cases. We do not want to see splitting anymore. Click OK. Now we're going to try to repeat this table, but in a different manner. Go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Crosstabs. And now, since we're doing a two-way table, we need two variables. So the gender variable and the degree variable. We're going to put the gender variable in the row and the degree variable in the columns. Next, click on Statistics and request the chi-square. So we're going to get a chi-square with a p-value. Click Continue. Click on cells, and here let's request the percentage for row. Okay, click Continue, and now you can click on OK. Alright, so here's the table we have produced using the crosstab. You can see it's a crosstab right there. We're producing this table, and this table has females and males in two rows, and BS degree and PharmD degree in two columns. And what is this saying is that out of the 35 females, we have 18 that have PharmD, representing 51.4% of the females. Out of the 35 males, we have 10 that have a PharmD, representing 28.6% of the male gender. And if we want to compare this percentage to that percentage and know if it's statistically significant or not, then you can look at your chi-square, which is down there, and the p-value is the asymptomatic significance, that's the p-value, and the p-value is 0.051. Well, if you remember, it's statistically significant when it's less than 0.05. So strictly speaking, that's not statistically significant, but it's very close to being statistically significant. So what can we say about this data? Well, we can say that apparently the female gender is more likely to have a PharmD degree than the male gender. Okay, now again, why are we looking at these percentages? The row percentages, they add up to 100 within rows because we requested them to add up to 100 within rows. If you go back and repeat the analysis, so cross tabs, I go to cells and I take out the rows, I request the columns this time, and I click Continue and OK. The exact same table, the numbers are the same, but now the percentage will add up to 100 in the column wise. And out of the BS degree holder, which are 42, we have 17 out of the 42, yani 40%, 40.5% that are female, and compared to the PharmD holders that are 28, we have 18 that are female, which represents 64.3. Again, it's the same exact chi-square with the same exact p-value. Okay? Now let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation. So we did a crosstab using the chi-square, and we looked if something is statistically significant or not. Last thing we did was I asked you to open a new data. By definition, a new data is just an empty data set. And I said, let's name three variables. The first one, we're going to call it the dependent variable. The next one, we're going to call it the independent variable. So I'm just giving them names that would remind me what they are. And the last is count. Okay? And then let's go back to your data view. We need to enter some data. So what we talked about is that if you look again at the table we had a moment ago, BS, PharmD, female, male. If you want to identify these 4 cells, well, you need to have BS versus female, BS versus male, PharmD versus female, and PharmD versus male. Well, if the codes are 1 and 2 for BS and PharmD, and 1 and 2 for female and male, then this cell is identified by entering 1 in here and 1 in here. That's exactly what I will do in this cell. So I'm going to enter 1 for dependent and 1 for independent. Then for the second cell, I'm going to enter 1 in the dependent, this time 2 in the dependent. I mean, the other way around. Then I'm going to enter 2 in the dependent and 1 in the independent, and 2, 2. Okay? And so far, I only have 4 rows, meaning 4 records. If I run a cross tab on this data, so put the dependent here and put the independent here, and request your the chi-square as we did it a second ago, and the cells we requested the row percent. We continue. If we do that, if you run that, well, you're just going to get 1, 1, 1 in every cell because you only have 4 records. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into the count variable and we're going to put some counts inside. So let's say 10, 15, 20, and I don't know, 40. Okay? Now, just because I did that, if I run the analysis again, now, nothing changed, right? Because SPSS doesn't know that I need to use these values. So what you need to do is go to data, select weight cases, and now select weight case by count, put it in here, click OK, and now repeat the analysis and see what happens. By repeating the analysis, now you can see that there are actual values inside the cells, depending upon how I called them. Okay, so that was what we did for this session. Using weight option was the last thing, and that summarizes our work for this session. I hope you find these recordings helpful.